Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside in Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Welcome to the Dance to Heal podcast. I am so excited you're here. I'm going to read to you today's ways to say no off of my daily calendar. Consistency is the most crucial part of the process. How many of you have not taken a full breath since you woke up this morning? I did not realize that I hadn't taken a full breath for most of my whole life, my entire life. Even once I learned that I wasn't breathing fully, I still wasn't consistent in reminding myself to take a breath. On my phone now, I have an alarm that goes off every day at 11:11 a.m. I'm going to show it to you, to remind me to do a breath. So, see that? 11:11. You see, I'm supposed to go to bed at 10:36. That's still a habit in the making. I'm learning to say no to the parts of me that want to stay up late at night working to prove my worth. That's still a work in progress. How often are you doing the things that allow you to be fully present in your life, in the moment? I used to think meditation was to be free of thoughts. I would sit in my really cool yoga class with my professor when I went to Boston University Sargent College for my master's in occupational therapy. And a bunch of us would go to one of our professors after class to do class. And a lot of it, this particular method of yoga was mostly breath work, lying down with some occasional movement. I feel it's a precursor to the workout, which is somatic exercises. I'm going to be certified in her level 1 soon. And at the same time, inevitably, I would be the one who would fall asleep and snore through most of the session. And then they would gently wake me up after they gave me an extra 10 minutes of sleep. It was incredibly hard for me to lie there and breathe and try and free my mind from thoughts. So because I felt so trapped, I would just go to sleep and free myself of that effort. Seriously. For me, I came to a realization when I started to make peace with my body and started to listen to what my body wanted from me. It wasn't to make my body stay still. I had been in freeze and fawn response for most of my life. That to then say, oh, you're going to learn to manage your mind by keeping your body still. It had the reverse effect, and it would actually cause panic attacks. I would have panic attacks and not realize. When you try something new, I'm going to ask you again, this running theme is to check in with yourself and ask, is this something that is really for me now? Is this something to go to in the future? Is this ever going to be anything for me? And then when you ask your body will let you know, versus you asking other people whose sole purpose is to get you to buy in, whether it's free or not, right? To buy into their school of thought, to buy into their philosophy or their grounding technique or their way of centering. Does that really work for you, right? Muscle testing itself is one of the ways that science-backed has ways to ask yourself a question, and then your body will be like, yeah, or your body will be like, no, The first ways of doing it were when they tested for food. They would put sugar, someone would hold some sugar, and they would put it right below their chest, right here. My audience members who are tuned in audio, I just put it right where the sternum is, and I just put it there, or slightly below it, right above where your stomach cavity starts. Okay, and kind of where your rib cage starts to meet, underneath, and underneath your your ribs. Like if you outline your ribs, you'll feel them in the front, and then where they meet up right in front of your chest. You'll hold the sugar there, and you'll close your eyes, and you allow your body to start to, if it wants to sway front to back or side to side, and you would feel whether or not you were leaning towards the sugar or leaning away from the sugar. And usually you would ask a question, is this sugar in this present form, for my highest good? And inevitably, most people, they would lean away from the sugar because honestly, it really isn't great for your body in its pure form, right? It's something we might develop, has a compensatory taste to do self-comfort. The actual overindulgence of sugar isn't beneficial, yeah? Sometimes your body's telling you one thing, and of course your mind might say, but I really want it, it makes me feel good, and you'll still eat the sugar. That's another episode. We're establishing right now some ways to muscle test on your own. You can stand up and ask yourself a question and establish, if first of all you want to ask and figure out what your yes and no when you're in standing, right? So when you're in standing, if you close your eyes and you say, oh, my name is, and whatever your name is, right? So my name is Jenny C. Cohen, and I'm going to lean forward. That's my yes. Yeah. But if I say, oh, I'm going to close my eyes, center myself, soften my knees, engage my core. And then I'm going to say, I am Penelope Cruz, and I'm going to feel myself leaning backwards. Yeah. Whoa. So that's my body is a little bit unused to this way of muscle testing because I usually do my finger, which I'm going to show you in a second. Usually, though, I have met friends, and we just recorded an episode where her episode is going to launch where she likes to do physically getting up and doing muscle testing. Some people will lean right one side to the other. That's your yes, no. You can also do a second test for your yes, which would be like your color eyes. Mine are brown. So I'm going to be like, soften my knees, and I'm going to hang my arms down, right? You can do it with me. And then you're going to ask, my color eyes are brown. And my body goes, ooh, smash into the computer, hello. And then I've always wanted green eyes. So my color eyes are green. And my body, if I don't force it to go forward, my body naturally comes backwards, right? So that's in the standing up muscle testing. My yes is to fall forward, and my no is to fall backwards. Some people is the opposite. So you want to establish it, even though in a lot of current muscle testing theory schools, yes, because you're going towards it, no, when you're going away from it. Does that help? Yeah? Good. Now, there's other ways to muscle test. You can do the closed finger technique, and when something is strong, it's usually a yes. So if I'm trying to pull my fingers apart with the other hand by that seam and I can't pull through, that's a yes, right? How do we know? My name is Jenny C. Cohen. Yes. My name is Penelope Cruz, and then no matter how much I close it, it doesn't feel secure, like I can pull it through, right? My color eyes are brown. My color eyes are purple. Not even with contacts, please. No, okay. So my body knows the yes and no. Now, here's the thing. When I first started to do this muscle test, it was a little mushy. And over time, as I started to actually follow through, if I asked my body a question, my body started to be more confident that I wasn't just asking a question to ask a question. Does that make sense? All right, another one, my favorite. So I reserve, if I'm muscle testing for a client with their permission, I'll use this ring finger technique. Yeah. For me, when I'm muscle testing for myself, I do the strong pointer finger because this knuckle, it really isn't that strong because it, to the waggle side to side. Yeah, that one. So if I just hold it really straight with the alignment of your wrist, the elbow drops, right? And then I push down on that middle fat knuckle, one knuckle over from the hand knuckle, the palm knuckle, right here. And then my name is Jenny. So I take your finger off. My name is Jenny C. Cohen, or your name is your name. And then I'll push it down. And it's very strong. My name is Penelope Cruz. And no matter what I do, I can push it down. I can really push it no matter how hard, right? My eyes are brown. My eyes are golden. My fingers like, yeah, no. The eyes are brown, right? So over time, you will be able to figure it out. And so are you have you been doing with me? If you are watching the recording, right, because this is on an evergreen loop on the podcast platforms and also YouTube. You can stop right now and figure out which muscle test is your preferred, and then come back to the rest of this recording. Right now, I want you to ask yourself: have I been making enough time, to take a full breath during the day? All right. So, have I been doing that? Yes. Was I doing it before? No. Right. Could I be doing more of that in my everyday? Yes. All right, so I'm going to listen to my body. I probably said, I'm going to ask, should I set another alarm like the 11:11? Yes. Yeah. Does that make sense? Now, I have other clearing techniques that I do with my clients that also incorporate breath. So I think that's what my body is taking into account outside of those sessions. If I miss a centering, grounding ritual that I have, like it's just a series of things that I do to keep my energy really clean. If I miss that, because sometimes my days are busy, I might stay up late or I get up late, yeah, or something unexpected happens on a phone call. Life gets lifey, right? Then and I miss that exercise or that series of steps I take in the morning to remind myself to take breaths, then I'm just relying on the 11:11 alarm, and that's barely enough, right? So for you, how often are you setting the time to take your breath, right? Because remember today's little reminder, right? Consistency is the most crucial part of the process. Now, I'm going to add the quality is also important, not necessarily the quantity, the quality. When my children were training as elite athletes in rhythmic gymnastics, they were told you just have to practice. And what we realized for them, what was most effective was to have clean, clear, precise practice. And then they didn't have to do as many reps, right? I know there are absolutely benefits to doing a move 10,000 times to become a master of it. Yes. However, if you're doing the move slightly misaligned to your joint, 10,000 times of repetition on that joint means that you've used up your lifetime use of the joint. As an occupational therapist, I'm telling you that then leads to a worn down joint, possible surgery, inability to do other things, right? Now, if you do that 10,000 repetitions or even 5,000 or 3,000 times in this accurate, safe, aligned way for your body, you may master that step faster because there isn't this learning curve that you're doing. My husband and I, we just started West Coast swing lessons for couples, and I'm holding myself back to not coach him because it's really hard. I have to be the follower. And during one of our lessons, the amazing instructor was like, Jenny, you're anticipating that turn. You're supposed to do 2 steps forward without turning. And he tried to lead me. And then I started to do it. And he was like, no, you need to stay straight. So it's 2 steps, step, step, and then you start to turn your body. And then he was watching us go back into the couple with the same step. And he went, oh, wait a minute. I know why you're doing that. It's because your partner, my husband, was starting to cross his arm and already leading me. So I had learned that pattern instead of coming forward as how he should lead me. He was pulling me. He was taking a step back and I was getting pulled forward. And then he was already doing this instead of going up. So I could be led forward. Does that make sense? And he'd been doing that for so long that I just was automatically turning, even without that guidance, even when the instructor was going the proper way, right? So the consistency is key. Small steps and clean and clear consistency, right? So you don't need to do an alarm and expect yourself to do it every single day, or otherwise you failed. It is the 11:11 alarm goes off for me, right? And I'm going to do that breath 11 times. That I probably will start doing box breath. And let's review that so you know what I mean. Box breath is to inhale through your belly for 1, 2, all the way into your chest, 4, and then hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to exhale top to bottom, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it there for 4, 3, 2, 1. One more repetition. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fill up lungs and chest and hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Then exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful job. So set your alarm. You're welcome to make a comment under this episode, especially on the YouTube one, because we'll come back to the comments and answer anything and cheer you on when you set your alarms. Just type in the numbers 1111 or 333 or 1010 or 999 for the time. Maybe no, there's no 999. 1111, 11, 222. Yeah. Unless you do the 24 hours, right? You can do 2222, which would be, what is that? 10, 12? No, that'd be 12. 22 would be 10 p.m., right? That'll work. Don't do 2220. Just do the 1212. Oh, I'll do that. 1111, 1212. You could do 111, 222, 333, 444, 555. And there's no 666. But you could do 606. Yeah. 707 a.m. or p.m. Mostly p.m. Unless you're an early bird. I'm trying to be an early bird again. Yeah. So take that and implement it. Today is the last week we're going to do another section of that talk that I gave about how to be a leader. We will see you next time. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye. Right? So here's the thing. When you allow yourself to feel the unpleasant feelings and then you move to expel them out of your body, you may notice a shift in how you feel about feelings. To be a leader means you have to be able to deal with the uncomfortable feelings in yourself and in the people that are looking to you as the leader, correct? Usually, the leaders, we're the peacemakers. We're the negotiators. We're the ones trying to make sense of why this person's doing that and that person. And we're trying to be the neutral Switzerland, right? In order to do that authentically, though, you still have to hold space for true feelings to be expressed and held and seen so you can guide them out. Does that make sense with everybody? Yes? Good. So to get back to that story with my husband, he did muscle testing, and guess what? He's dehydrated. So now, whenever we argue, he'll, when you're married over 30 years, it starts to be like your husband wants you to like share a brain with him, and I'm kind of like, no, we've evolved beyond that. You can answer your own questions. And so he'll ask me, should I wear these shorts to the funeral that we have to do? And I'd be like, well, should you? You want to ask your buddy? And he'd be like, but it's really hot. And I'm like, I'm not answering whether or not he needs to wear those shorts. He just keeps asking me, should I wear the shorts? And I'm like, but I've never been to a Vegas wedding, like a funeral where it's outside in the heat of 110 degrees. I don't know if you're allowed to wear shorts. And so he finally asked his body, right? And the key, though, is before we actually had an answer, guess what happened? He came and asked his body, do I want to be at this funeral? And his body said no. And then he asked, do I need to be at the funeral? And his body said no. So then he got the answer for the shorts. He could wear whatever he wants. He wasn't going to be at the funeral. Do you understand? So when you are having difficulty maneuvering anything, you always want to begin first with what is actually in your way. So I put into the chat my gift to you because I gave you a surface exploration of the things that we want to work on ourselves, similar to what every wonderful speaker has spoken about. There's actually a little quiz that I can send to you, and then we can dissect it during the call if you want to, where it'll show you who your main saboteurs are. Meaning, we all want to be the sage, right? We want to be the leader. And half the time, we've got a chorus of people in the background going, oh, this person isn't doing it right. Oh, you need to do this. Or, oh, no, let's not make anybody mad. Just in case, like, What do we do if like person A gets mad and then person B starts to cry? Like, what do I do with that, right? Or we must do it this way and this way and this way, when sometimes flexibility is what's required as the leader. How do you get those, what we call saboteurs, quieted down or reassigned so that your sage, your all-knowing self can come forward to be the leader you're meant to be, okay? All right? So I would either email me or text on your cell phone. If you're not on your cell phone, go to 845-590, text that, 845-590-5645. And it'd be nice if besides texting saboteur, you don't even have to spell it right. It's just Sabo if you need to. Give me your name so I'm not asking, may I ask who this is? Just give me your name so I know who you are. And then I'll send you the assessment, okay? It's the best way for us to connect. Here's the thing though, and I'm gonna leave this, I'm gonna kind of end my presentation because I could talk another 40 minutes about this. I'm so excited about it. If you're not daily moving, physically moving, and then asking your body questions so you know where you stand, then you cannot be there for the people you're leading. I tried doing that, y'all. I tried to be there for my family, for my work, for my friends, everybody, but I wasn't there for me. Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit OutsideInRecovery.com. Are you ready to move?